Good afternoon, everybody. A warm welcome to off stage and on stage. We are all here assembled to commemorate September 13th, which is today as World Sepsis Day, and this is done across the world. And the message that we want to give to the world is that sepsis is a killer. And just to give you a little bit insight about sepsis, worldwide about 47 to 50 million people every year have been diagnosed with sepsis, and out of which almost about 11 million people die every year, which I think is a humongous number, which I believe can be prevented. And every out of 5 deaths that happen, 1 death is associated with sepsis. So we believe as custodians of intensive care that sepsis is a medical emergency which, if can be diagnosed early and with initiation of appropriate treatment, valuable human lives can be saved. So without much ado, I'd now like to call upon
honorable dignitaries on the dais. So thanks for all making it for this occasion. So today, as already you all are aware, 13th September is the World Sepsis Day. So we are here with a theme that is come as a global campaign against sepsis, which is 5 facts and 5 actions. So I'll just take you through what is the magnitude of this sepsis as agreed upon or as come out as a press release from our Global Sepsis Alliance. So can I have the PPTs on? Yeah, so these 5, in fact, when we ask anyone what is the definition of sepsis, that itself we see people grappling. So sepsis is a killer because the definition itself says it's a life-threatening organ dysfunction due to dysregulated host response to the infection. So the facts, we'll just jump into what the WHO or the Global Sepsis Alliance put out as a theme as. The 5 facts is, we need to understand that every 3 seconds there is 1 death that is happening. So that is the magnitude, and it's a bigger killer than the acute coronary syndromes, heart attacks or strokes. So that is something we need to be alarmed, and this count is only increasing. And the second important facts that as a society we all need to be aware is it affects most vulnerable population, which means to say elderly population or population with lot of comorbidities. And now increasingly in India, the average lifespan has increased by 10 years over last 30 years. So which means the elderly population is increasing, and people with comorbidities, it may be inflammatory conditions, it may be oncological conditions or uncontrolled diabetes or chronic kidney disease. So they are the most vulnerable for sepsis, and this group is increasing. And the third important aspect, which is we should assuage our concerns, is most deaths are preventable. So that is something we need to be aware. And this is very interesting for India, and that's why we collaborating with the post office and the postal department, because we want government also to partner with us and see how best we can invest into this campaign on sepsis, because only 15 of 194 countries have invested in sepsis. I will talk a little bit on detailing of that. And stronger sepsis response is essential at this point of time. So the actions that are sort of recommended by the Global Sepsis Alliance is countries, it is about time we prioritize and fund this global campaign, and there has to be nationwide protocol and guidelines. I think this is something which as a medical community and
understand. Of course, these days we Google it and go in depth and try to understand what is what, but still there is a lot of gap in understanding. Postal Department has been commemorating various events and various days which are being observed for a particular cause. And the medical profession, I should say, because I will not be using any medical terminologies, because that I would feel that I am a sheep amidst the lions sitting here. All the doctors would definitely agree with that. As a Postal Department officer, the first time I met with this terminology, sepsis, was when the life insurance claims used to come to me for approvals. So I had to see the cause of death. And of late, I was seeing this cause of death as a secondary cause, or it could be a primary cause, as a sepsis and sepsis shock. So I was wondering, what is this shock terminology coming into this human body? And that again, whatever knowledge I could gather from Google, but still I was never satisfied. But today, Dr. Pradeep Rangappa sir, as a doctor, gave us a lot of insight and awareness about what exactly sepsis is. And we could take, we never knew that it's such a serious and sensitive.
And what more befitting it can be than to release the postage calendar as a part of the celebration. Today's day is not merely a day to celebrate. In fact, it is not a day to celebrate at all. It is a day for resolution. It is a day to resolve. It is a day to intensify our fight against sepsis, which has killed more people than all the world wars and the natural disasters combined together. And it continues to do the same. So what should we pledge on this day? 1. Awareness. It is very important to win this war against sepsis. We increase awareness among the common people. 2. We need to be extra careful about hygiene. 3. We need to improve the measures for infection control. Because as we know, sepsis is a life-threatening organ dysfunction consequent to infection, which produces dysregulated host response. Therefore, it is very important to know that without infection control, it is not possible to erase this dreaded menace. Next, we have to improve our universal health coverage. If our majority of our population is...
I would like to thank Dr. Pradeep Rangappa and Mr. Raja for having me here on this occasion of World Sepsis Day. I would like to stress more on the prevention aspect, because we are all clinicians, though clinician. But once the patient get into a hospital or in the ICU, so it is difficult, even at the best center, to revive him or give him the best treatment. Because of late, what we are seeing, you would have seen the slides shared by Dr. Pradeep, showing 11 million deaths every year. So prevention is the best. So prevention, I think, so should be started at the community level, at the hospital level, and the individual level. So basically, hand hygiene. Everybody, most of them are speaking on hand hygiene, all those things. So keep our surroundings clean, prevent any infection, any chronic diseases like diabetes, chronic kidney disease, liver disease should be always under control. So if these things are not under control, there is likely to be an infection. This will land up in sepsis. So keeping this in mind, I think so prevention.
Ellarku namaskara, good afternoon. At the outset, would like to thank both Dr. Pradeep and the leadership of the Postal Department to give this opportunity for us to be here as representing Manipal hospitals. Just a couple of words about the Postal Department, because I think for many of us, Postal Department will bring nostalgia. Because I think, when we look back, I'm sure people of our generation who are probably born in the late 60s, 70s would remember it as a PNT department, Postal and Telegraph Department. And if you ask me, that was like if you look at today's world, it is like a service mall. If you go there, every service what is rendered, that could be witnessed there, whether it is a bank, whether it is telephones, whether it is those days a telegram, and so of course in addition to the routine postal services, even within postal services, money order, various other things. So what used to probably all of us learned without our knowledge was probably the way the dedication which the staff had shown, the discipline with which the entire process was there, and of course the process which was laid down, and also all this would give us the trust. We know that if you give a money order, it will reach. We know that even if it is to the post office there, don't have an address, that post office will ensure even rain or sun, he will go identify that person. No Aadhaar cards, no this thing. Still, that trust was very high in this. And today it's very, very apt to have these two, that is for postal department to sort of look into this big, I would say, problem within the society, that is infection. Because if you look at many things, if those principles is followed, this can be significantly reduced. Like if there is a discipline.
ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನನಗೆ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಹತ್ರ ನೋಡಿದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ
Diagnosis. Of course, prevention is very, very important, and early diagnosis, and of course, I think by launching all these things, we are creating a huge awareness both among the fraternity as well as among the intensivists, among the public also, because the sepsis, many a time, of course, we know all triggers. I think lung is the main trigger, followed by gastrointestinal system and skin. And sometimes we have seen small skin infection, some big dose infection, and within 3 days, people say it's no more. So that is the rapidity with which the sepsis can occur. So we have our great physicians and our close friends, Dr. Pradeep Rangappa, then Dr. Murli, Dr. Seshibhushan, Dr. T.S. Ravindra. I think making an early diagnosis is extremely important. Of course, we have all types of antibiotics. I think this is where the physician wisdom is extremely important. Straight away starting with very higher antibiotics, and ultimately left with probably we are going to face a huge antibiotic resistance. That's very, very important. I think best any infection has to be treated. I mean, you have to make a proper diagnosis, and today we have all those diagnostic and support is there. We have cultures, we have PCR system. So because we keep jumping, sometimes antibiotics Monday we give antibiotics, Tuesday only we change. We don't even wait for a few days for antibiotics to act. But anyway, I think sepsis today, because if you look at the incidence of sepsis in India, I think it's close to 12 millions patients with sepsis are treated, and nearly 3 millions die of sepsis. It's a very high mortality. But maybe I think preventive measures has to be, promulgated, very, very important. Definitely prevention is, we always say prevention is better than cure, precaution is still the best. So I think simple hand hygiene, there are so many studies, just washing your hands properly reduces the infection rate by 50%. So I think because many a time in many places, of course, now the COVID has taught many lessons since virtually it is universalized. Using hand sterilization was universalized during COVID, so that practice has been carried into these things. So, importance of sterilization is important, and because particularly patients who are on various cannulas, central lines, so the maintenance is maintenance of all this line is very important. So I think Indian Postal Service keeps on doing, releasing the stamps on various medical topics and medical diseases. So this is the way I think, because still Indian Postal Service is one of the most time-tested dissemination of, all this knowledge. So definitely, because sepsis, people think it is simple. It's not that simple. So the rapid iteration can happen. So definitely, we have to, of course, every hospital observe. Hand hygiene day and ICU hygiene day. So all those things, that's very important. So particularly hand hygiene is so important. So this we have to train staff. Sepsis days are also celebrated in many hospitals, and they are encouraged because some sort of an incentive, some sort of a